Warning. This video goes into more complex concepts than the video. Change or remove the password for a local account when you forgot it. It is intended for those that the other video did not work, typically because your antivirus saw the modified utilman.exe as a threat. If you have problems understanding something, give me the time in the video and the question you have, being as detailed as possible. Time permitting, I will reply and clarify. If you only comment saying you are confused, or you don't understand, then I can't help you. Thank you. Introduction. This video will be broken down into 3 different parts. Part 1. Preparation, downloading files needed to create a bootable DVD or USB drive. Part 2. Booting to the DVD or USB drive. Part 3. Wiping your password. Part 1. Creating a bootable Linux DVD. For this exercise, I will be using the Linux distribution system Rescue. There are others, but this is small, has the tool necessary to hack the password, and I use it a lot, so I'm used to it. You will of course need to use another computer to download and create the bootable media. I will first bring up my web browser. Since I am on a clean Windows, I will use Microsoft Edge. In the address bar at the top of the browser, type www.system-rescue.org and press enter. On the home page, click on Download, in the left column, under Sitemap. I will download the latest ISO from SourceForge. As of this video, the version is 10.02. The file should start downloading shortly. If not, click the download link. Microsoft Edge puts the downloads in the upper right of the browser window. Google Chrome and some other browsers show it in the lower left. If you don't see it, most browsers will show you downloads by holding Ctrl and tapping the J key. I will be doing this with a DVD. If you want to make a USB boot drive instead, follow the instructions on the site and use Rufus to make the bootable USB drive. Click on the folder icon to open File Explorer to where the ISO was downloaded. To make the bootable DVD from the file, right-click on it. Click Show More Options. Now click Burn Disk Image. This will create a DVD disk that is bootable. Part 2. Booting to the DVD or USB drive that you just created. Back at the computer that you are locked out of, insert your new boot media, then click the power button in the lower right. Your menu will look different if you don't have updates pending like I apparently do. Hold Shift and click on Restart. Continue to hold Shift until you get the next screen. Unless your computer is quite a bit older, it will most likely have Secure Boot enabled in BIOS. You will need to turn this off. To get to this screen, click the Troubleshoot on this menu. If you know that Secure Boot is not enabled, skip this part. On the Troubleshoot page, you will most likely have to click on Advanced Options. On the Advanced Options menu, click the UEFI Firmware Settings. Click Restart to continue to your computer's UEFI, or BIOS, menu. There are too many variations for BIOS screens. If you need help with yours, pause this video and open a new tab and search for your computer's make and model and the word BIOS, and turn off Secure Boot. If you had to disable the Secure Boot, then go back to the beginning of this portion of the video. Now at the Choose an Options blue screen, we will click Use a Device. We are looking for the bootable DVD or USB drive that we just created in the list. I am doing this video on a virtual machine, so hopefully your selection will be more obvious than mine. This is the bootloader menu for the bootable media we created. For this purpose, use the down arrow to select the option labeled Boot System Rescue and copy system to RAM. You could use default if you wish. I don't. For some things I use this disk for, and I like to be consistent. Press Enter to start the boot process. You will see a lot of text go by. Just wait until you get the root at System Rescue prompt. Part 3. Wiping the password. Now that we are in Linux, we need to find and mount the partition that has Windows on it. To get a list of drives and partitions, type lsblk and press Enter. In my list, you see a drive labeled SDA as a 40 GB drive. If you have a newer SSD drive, it will probably be listed as NVMe0N1. You will also notice SDA1, SDA2, SDA3, and SDA4. Those are the partitions for my drive to be able to run Windows. The partition we need is the largest, in my case it is SDA3 with a size of 39.3 G. We need to mount that partition so we can access it, but first we have to make a location to mount it to. To do this, type mkdir/mnt/windows and press enter. To mount the partition, type mount /dev/sda3/mnt/windows/ and press enter. Now we will change to the newly mounted partition by typing cd/mnt/windows and pressing enter. To verify we are at the correct location, type ls and press enter. You should see a screen similar to mine. We are looking for the Windows folder. In this, distribution folders are in blue text with green highlight. We need to change to the Windows folder. Unlike the Windows operating system, Linux is case sensitive, so we need to type this as we see it on the screen using a capital W in Windows. Type cd/Windows and press enter. Now we will need to change to the System32 folder. It should also have a capitalized first letter, so type cd/System32 and press enter. Now we will go to the config folder. Unlike Windows or System32, this is not normally capitalized, so type cd/config and press enter. Let's get a list of files and folders in this location. Type ls and press enter. The file we are looking for is SAM, and you can see it here in my list. The SAM file contains the usernames and passwords. Now type chtpw-i-SAM and press enter. Remember that Linux is case sensitive and your SAM file is most likely all uppercase. We want to edit the user data, so type 1 and press enter. Data here is presented in 4 columns: RID, username, admin, and lock. We are only interested in the first 2. Find your locked out user in the username column, in my case it is VM. Then type in the hexadecimal number associated with it in the RID column, in my case 03E9, and press enter. Now it gives us information on that user. All we need to do here to clear the password is type 1 and press enter. The screen goes pretty quick, then give the same menu, but if you look above you will see it says password cleared. Now type Q, and press enter to quit editing this user. If you wanted to, you could remove passwords from other users by selecting one, pressing enter, and choosing another user to edit. Since we are done, we will type Q and press enter again to quit the program. Now it is prompting us to save the Hive file, type Y, and press enter. You can remove your bootable media, then we will shut down the computer. To shut down, type shutdown -H now and press enter. Turn the computer back on and it should boot into Windows. If you only have one account, the computer might boot straight into that account, or you may get a screen like I have. Notice no password prompt, just a sign-in button, which I will click. As you can see, I'm back into Windows with no password. If you turned off Secure Boot in BIOS, now would be a good time to go back into BIOS and turn it back on. I've decided to test to see if this method will remove passwords from Microsoft connected accounts. One thing we need to do is have the internet disconnected before we boot back into Windows so the computer can't reach out to the Microsoft servers and grab the password. I have added a new user with a Microsoft connected account for this test. I will pick up screenshots from inside the CHNTPW program. I'm back in the Linux tool, CHNTPW, and have listed the users. Notice that I now have a user DCISRQ. I will type that user's RID and press enter. I will now do the same thing I did before and type 1, then press enter to attempt to clear the password. While it said that it cleared the password, I really don't trust it, so I'm going to do one more thing. First, let's quit editing this user by typing Q and pressing enter. Type 1 and press enter to edit a user again. This time we are selecting the administrator account. In my case the RID is 01F4, so I type that and press enter. The administrator account is disabled by default, and it should be disabled when everything is done, and I will show how to do that in Windows near the end of this video. To enable the account, type 2, and press enter. Normally the administrator account doesn't have a password, but just in case I will type 1, and press enter, to clear any password that might be there. As before, type Q and press Enter to quit editing the user. And type Q and press Enter to exit the CHNTPW program. Type Y to save the change to the SAM and press Enter. Now would be a good time to disconnect your Ethernet cable, or unplug your router, so your computer can't connect to the internet when we boot back into Windows. To shut down Linux, type shutdown, space, -H, space, now, and press Enter. Well, I'm back at the sign-in screen for Windows and I can't access the Microsoft connected account. That possibility is why I enabled the administrator account. Let's walk through what we want to do in the administrator account. Click on the administrator account, then click Sign In. Since the administrator has never signed into Windows, you will need to go through some setup. I suggest that you turn everything off. Click Accept to continue. In the Start menu type, CMD. Don't press Enter. Instead, right-click on the command prompt under Best Match. Now click Run as Administrator. You are now at the Windows command prompt, with full administrative privilege. We are going to create a new user, but first let's get a list of the current users so we don't duplicate. To get a list of users, type net, space, user, and press Enter. Now to add a new user, type net, space, user, space, username, space, /add and press Enter. Username can be whatever you want, but if there will be space in it you need to enclose it in quotation marks like I did with VM recovery. To give the new user administrator rights, type net, space, local group, space, administrators, space, username, space, /add and press Enter. Now we will sign out of the administrator account. Click the Start menu, the administrator account, then sign out. You might need to reboot the computer, as I do. So I will simply click the power symbol in the lower right, then click Restart. Now I have the new user on my sign-in screen in the lower left, so I will click on that user. Then click Sign In. Choose your privacy settings, and click Accept. Again, personally, I turn everything to No. Now that we are in Windows with a new account, we should disable the administrator account. To do this, we need to go to a command prompt as administrator, so click Start and type CMD. Right-click command prompt, then click Run as Administrator. Click Yes to allow the app to make changes to your device. Type net, space, user, space, administrator, space, /active:"no" and press Enter. To verify that the administrator account is disabled, type net, space, user, space, administrator and press Enter. To the right of account active it should say No. Now exit the command prompt. You can click the X in the upper right corner, or type Exit and press Enter. To get the data from another account, open File Explorer. On the left column, click the greater than sign to the left of this PC. Now click the one next to local disk C:, then next to users. You'll notice that under users we already have access to folders for the user we are signed in as well as the public folder. Since the DCISRQ account was the Microsoft account we couldn't clear the password on, I will click on that folder to gain access to those files. As you can see, Windows tells me I don't currently have permission and asks if I want to continue, so click Continue. How long this takes depends on 3 factors. 1. How many files you have. 2. How fast your computer is. And 3. How fast your drive is. If you didn't see your folder here, you will need to look in any other drive letters you have. Since it was a Microsoft connected Windows account, most likely a lot of your files will be under the OneDrive folder. There's also a possibility that some files might be listed but not synchronized to the local drive. In that case, you will need to keep trying to get into your Microsoft account, but now you have access to your computer again, it might be easier. If you don't plan to try to regain access to this actual account, then you can start moving files from this branch of the user's folder to your new one. If you need to recover passwords from browsers, while I haven't created a video on that yet, I'm sure there are some out there that will explain it. Search things like moving Edge profile to a new computer, or Chrome, or Firefox, or whatever browsers you use. If you haven't already done it, remember to enable Secure Boot in BIOS. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, your queries are always welcome. please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. To help me address your questions effectively, specify the timestamp in the video your question pertains to, and provide as much detail as possible. I will do my best to answer them when I can. If you found this video helpful, please consider clicking the like button. Additionally, if you haven't already, please subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when new videos are uploaded.